Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ken, and I'm feeling a little bit controversial this morning, so be ready for this. You might not be advised to stick around and listen to me right now if you're weak of heart. Hey, I'm Ken. I used to be a homicide detective. I was a cop for over 15 years, and I got sick of it. When I found out I was going to become a dad, I needed to make a change. In the last 15 years, I've started 4 different businesses in 4 different industries, and they've made a lot of money. This channel is dedicated to showing people exactly how to build an 8-figure coaching business. Every single part of it. I love teaching people how to write books, how to get your books traditionally published, how to turn those books into 7-figure coaching businesses, and you're going to find all that information right here. I am sick of hearing people telling me that webinars are dead. I hear this all the time. I was at a mastermind event last weekend with one of my personal coaches, Anik Singhal, and at that event, we talked about webinars, and it was freaking unbelievable. It refreshed my passion for webinars and also made me really angry because I no sooner got back from this mastermind and I was literally overwhelmed in one of the Facebook groups I'm in with a whole bunch of guru coaches by everybody who was saying webinars were dead. I think it's the farthest thing from the truth, number one. And number two, I think if you're trying to build a coaching business, if you're trying to build any type of online business, a coaching business, you're trying to sell any type of information product, and you're not doing a webinar, you're leaving millions of dollars on the table. And I want you to hear this very, very clearly. I'm not ever going to be the person that says doing a webinar is easy because it's not. There's a real technique to it. And I'll walk through what that technique is in a second, because it really makes all the difference in the world. If I go back to the beginning, I've been doing webinars now since 2012. And so you're talking 13 years. Is that right? No, 11 years that I've been doing them. And friends, when I first started, my first mentor who really got me into webinars was Russell Brunson. And I remember being in his inner circle back in the day. And Russell, his advice to the audience that he was talking to at the time, of which I was a part, was if you want to make a lot of money online, you have to master doing a webinar. You got to start doing it every week. And this is what he said that just radically impacted me. He said, pick a time every week and do that webinar and don't stop, ever. He says, even if you start automating the webinar, don't ever give up on doing your webinar live until your automated process outranks or outperforms your live webinar. He says, but don't ever stop doing them. So I heard that advice. I created my first offer and I started doing a webinar every Wednesday at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friends, I did that webinar for 2 freaking years, 104 times every freaking week. I literally had a spreadsheet. I was tracking my results. And in 2 years, I made 1 sale. And it was my cousin. It was horrible. How many people watching this video right now would have freaking given up? How many people that are here right now wouldn't have been able to handle doing that? Why did I keep doing it? It's because there's a system to becoming successful in webinars and making it work where you track all your results. And basically, actually, let me just show it to you right now. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to say share screen. It's going to ask me what screen. It's going to go really weird for a second, but I am going to move this guy over here so I can still see what I'm talking about. I can see the chat. But what you're actually looking at right now is a tracking sheet. And this is a tracking sheet that I give to all of my clients. I help people to make money with webinars. That's one of the big things that I do in my business. And what you're looking at right now. So this is an offer that I've been doing a webinar for 9 years. And every year at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the calendar year, if it's automated and working, great. If it's making money, great. But what I do every year is I go back to the slide deck, I update it, I refine it based on my experience, because my experience is always getting better. It's always getting greater. And I start doing the webinar again, like it's day one, scratch. And so this is a webinar for our writing weekend. You can see I've done it 3 weeks in a row. And essentially, when you're doing a webinar, you want to use a tracking system just like this to track your results. And you can see what I'm doing here. So here are the essential stats that you want to track. The first thing you want to track, actually, I'm going to pull up my ClickFunnels account so that I can show you the guys this the right way. So this is not the right ClickFunnels account, but let me just go back into here. You're gonna like the best way in the world to do this is to learn how to run Facebook ads and start running ads and then start tracking your results. You should get somebody to sign up to come to a webinar. I'm just going to pull up the ad account that I ran these ads from so you can see. In today's world that we live in, you should be able to get somebody to sign up for your webinar for anywhere between $5 and $10. That's kind of what it's costing now. It's a really wonky world we live in, but it's okay because you're making money. So this is the, let me just go back and show you the last week. Yep. So this guy right here is the webinar that I was doing. And really, to be honest with everybody, Facebook advertising doesn't track accurately. So I use a software called Hyros to track it. And I'll just show you first and foremost, I did this webinar here and here. So I ran the ads for these dates. And the only thing I want you to see here is there's going to be a number that shows up here in a second. It says I had 576 people register. And my average price for registration was about $5 or $6. So step one, you got to start running an ad. And you want to make sure that ad, I'll even show you the ad that I ran just to be really cool about it. There's a very important word in webinar selling and driving traffic. It's called congruency. So you run an ad that looks just like this. A lot of you guys have probably seen this ad running. And your goal is to get people to click this link. So I always like to put a link above the fold so they can see it really quickly, and then the learn more button. And when they click that link, they're going to come to your webinar registration page, which you're not going to see because I'm not actually, it's just, okay, yeah, it's set up. So this is the webinar registration page. And then if I go back to ClickFunnels, I got so many pages open here now. I might have messed up what I want to show you, but it's okay. I can just quickly log into the ClickFunnels account. So step one is how much are you paying to get somebody to register? And I got people to register for that one for about $5. So then step two is what percentage of the people are registering? And this is where the congruency kicks in. If you have a really great message on your ad and it aligns with the message on your webinar registration page, which means that people are going to get more excited. Congruency means they got a feeling when they saw your ad. They come to your webinar registration page and the feeling gets even more exciting. And in the world we live in today, you really should be getting people to register. Let me just go here and put this in place. You should be getting people to register for about 25% of people to register. So you can see the registration rate here is 36%. So that's good. It could be better. I'm always trying to improve it. But if you're over 25% there, you're in a good space. So then you take your registration page, and this is your tracking sheet. So you can see I plug in how many registrations I had, how much I spent on the ads, and it kicks out the average registration cost. It's all math driven. So if you want, I'll give you a copy of the spreadsheet because the formulas are already built into it. The next thing you're tracking is the show up rate. So I had 561 people register, but I only had 110 people show up. And that's only 19%. Now, some webinar gurus will tell you that 19% is good, in the world we live in today with the confusion on people's minds and everything else. But I have another webinar that I'll show you in a minute where I'm getting like 30 to 40% of people to show up. And that's what I'm expecting here. So what makes people show up is after they register, you're going to send them a bunch of emails. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'll pull up the ClickFunnels account. How about this? This is the power of social media today that I can actually do this with you guys. After they register, you have a series of automated emails. I use ClickFunnels for all this stuff. It's the best, the most reliable system that's out there. I know there's a whole bunch of others and blah, 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 but ClickFunnels is just freaking reliable. they start getting these emails, and you create them so that they come out every day, and as you get closer they get more of them. Well, if you do a good job and these create the curiosity and maintain the excited feeling in them, then they're going to show up. So when I see I only have 19% of people showing up for this, that means I need to increase the quality of my emails and text messages. And then of the 110 that showed up, the next thing you track is how many people are still there when you do your pitch. Now, the magic number is 90%. If you follow the right webinar training format, then 90% of people should stay. So I'm at 88%. So I'm not disappointed by that. That's pretty good. I got 91 the week before. And then the next thing you track is how many sales did you get? The percentage of the people that were there when you pitched, how many people bought? And the magic number is 10%. If you're doing over 10%, you're freaking killing it. So this spreadsheet tells me that I spent $3,700 on the ads. I made $10,000 based on the price of my offer. And that means $6,000 in profit. And I'm going to show you another one. This works in anything, friends. This is a webinar that I do where I teach, it's in the real estate space, and I teach people how to buy cottages and rent them on Airbnb. And I only launched this webinar back in April. And so I'm still just starting to automate now. I use a platform called A-Event for automation. So what I'm doing now is I'm still doing the webinar every week, but now I'm starting to run the ads on A-Event in automation so that I don't have to do it live anymore. But I don't care. I'll do it live. You know why I'll do it live? I'll do it live forever if I have to. And here's why. On these ads, since I started doing this live, I spent $129,000 and I've made $274,000. That's why. Anyway, same thing. If we take a look here, this is the webinar I did just last night. I had 168 people register. I spent $5,500. So my registration for this webinar has been freaking horrid. And I'm always working on the ads. I'm trying YouTube ads for this now to see if I can get the price down. But even still, check this out. Of the 168 that registered, 73 people showed up, 43%. Look at those freaking show up rates every week. Why? Because I found an offer that people freaking love, and it's something they've been thinking about already, and nobody else is offering this answer. They're not hearing about this. And that's the ultimate. And you'll get to that over time. But let's go back. So now I look at, okay, 73 people showed up, 64 stayed till the stack, and 16 people purchased. So I paid $5,500. I spent $5,500 on ads. I had $12,000 in revenue, $7,000 in profit. And if we look here, 25% purchased. So that's kind of like the gold standard there that I'll get you to, or you'll get to. And I've made $145,000 in profit since I've started doing this for my company. And those are the stats. Let me go back now to StreamYard. And actually, before I go back, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I think I can just do that right there. Yep, perfect. Excellent. So why did I just take the time to show you that? To show you that it's possible. Now, I've been teaching people how to create webinars, create online courses, sell online courses through webinars, automate the whole system. And the thing I have to be careful of is I can tend to make this whole process seem really easy by showing you numbers like that and statistics like that, the money that I'm making, the fancy little plaques on the wall there. I can make it seem easy, but I want to draw your attention back to something I said a few minutes ago. I freaking went 2 full years before I had my first webinar sale. I hired coaches to help me, still couldn't do it. Because what I know looking back now is that I also, when you're starting to do webinars, if things aren't going well, there's 2 things you have to look at. Number one, you got to make sure that you're following all the techniques. There's very specific processes that you use when you're selling on a webinar. There's 3 phases. So in the first phase of doing a webinar, you want to make sure that you build authority with people, that you answer their questions. The second phase, you teach them. The third phase, you sell. Listen, actually, if you want to learn how to sell on webinars, start by reading this book. This is Jason Fladlien. I've heard Jason speak a couple times live. This is the guy that taught everybody. He's literally the $1 billion guy with webinars. So read that book, and it will help you. But I'm telling you, there's no easier way to sell, to make like millions of dollars, than doing a webinar. It's not going to be easy in the start. I've never seen any of my clients or students that took as long as me. I still have not seen that person. It took me 2 years of doing a webinar before I made my first dollar. And now I've made millions and millions of dollars. And it works. And it works for freaking anything. I've helped people build online courses and launch webinars to sell their online courses in every freaking niche imaginable. And it will work, but it's going to take your dedication. It's going to take you doing it every week, and understanding that you have to tweak yourself through the process. One last thing I want to tell you. When I first started, you know what I realized was holding me back, that the 2 years where I didn't sell? It was me. It was my personality. I used to be a homicide detective. And I would get on these webinars, and my natural personality, I would literally start yelling at people. And I wasn't doing it like harshly. I wasn't like trying to hurt people or anything like that. It was just my personality. And after 2 years of doing it, I had another mentor that realized that. And he came to me one day and he says, "I'll tell you why you're not selling on webinars." And he showed me some clips and he said, "Would you buy from this guy?" And so for 10 years, what I've been doing is I've been working on softening my personality, realizing when I go overboard, how I communicate on camera to make it more comfortable for the people that are listening to me. And it works. It flat out works. Anyway, I just really felt the need to talk to you today about this subject. And if you hear anybody telling you webinars don't work and ad costs are going up and things don't work, like if you hear any of that shit, just ignore it, because it does work. If you want to know more about this, if you've been thinking about building a coaching business, launching a coaching business, or if you're trying to build a coaching business, or maybe you're a coach already, but you have no automation, you're doing your little pitches in your DMs and you're getting one-on-one coaching clients. But if you really want to scale, you need an automated course. You need some type of front-end automated system where revenue is created around the clock. Then you need a system to put in place where somebody is connecting with those people who buy your first product and inviting them to look at your group coaching program, and then upselling them into that program and putting the whole system in place. That's how you get to $1 million. If you want to see that, if you click on the link that I put above this video or below it, I actually created a case study. It's 20 minutes long. I'll introduce you to some of my clients that have used this system, but I walk you through the whole thing from end to end. And then if you watch that video, if you're interested, you can even book a call where I'm happy to chat with you and kind of listen to your idea. And I've got some really great coaches that do these calls with me, and what we, see if there's a chance that I can help you do it faster. It's really what it comes down to. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this session. If this made sense to you and you learned anything, I'd really appreciate it if you make a comment and let me know, tag me in it. I'd love to hear from you. And if you really liked it, if you think other people could use this information, then share this video. Have a great day, everybody.